Jay and Megan got that heat.
And 5, 4, 3. What's up, everybody?
Hi.
We are back. I'm Jay.
I'm
In case,
Megan.
you know, you've never listened to us before. And she's Megan.
Yep.
We didn't say this the last couple episodes that we did, but if you are just listening to us, you can also watch us on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to go to YouTube, you can look for the Loyal and Assertive Podcast, and what you will see is that I have on sunglasses in the house, and I plan on keeping them on the entirety of this here episode. Why? Because it's 2023, and I felt like doing something different. But we're going to go ahead and hop right in. So Wild Thoughts is what we're going to do first, and it's right in line with the fact that it's a brand new year. So here's what I want to say. It's a new year, but it's the same me.
It is. I'm glad that you
Same
didn't switch
old me. You know what I mean? Everybody be like, new year, new me. Nah, dog, same old me. But here's the question. What is something, because I think people don't talk like this, and let me make sure I move this so y'all can hear, you know what I'm saying? So what's something that you are absolutely not changing about yourself in this new year? What is something that you are carrying from 2022 into 2023?
I need a minute to think. So can you give yours first and then?
Sure.
Because you didn't prompt me for this. I
Yeah,
didn't have any
listen,
warning.
This is what we do. All right, so here's one thing I am not changing.
Okay.
I am never, ever, 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 ever. I don't care if it's 2023. I don't care if it's 2033. I don't care if it's 2083. Now, I probably won't still be here, 2083. But here's the thing. I am not going to ever stop telling people what I think. Ever. I'm bringing that into 2023 with me. So if you want me to be a person that doesn't tell you what I see and what I think and what my opinion is, then you got the wrong guy. But here's what I think. The reason why I wanted to kind of pose this question on a serious note is I do think that oftentimes we spend a lot of time talking about what we want to change from year to year.
Yeah.
And what I think we don't do, I think what we do a good job of is ignoring some of the good things that we already have that we're bringing into the new year.
Right. Some of the things that we have changed and have worked on that we want to continue.
Yep. And so here's the thing. I'm a pretty honest person. If you know me in real life, then you know that. But I think that that's, even though that has been described as a negative trait in my life of telling people what I really think, I do think, honestly, it's a really good trait to have. I think to have somebody who tells you what they think all the time, I feel like in a relationship is really helpful. And I honestly have learned to grow up in it. I don't just tell people what I think all the time. I have done that. I've ruined a lot of relationships telling people what I think
But
all the time.
listen, everybody needs that friend that's going to say, hey, you have a boogie, go to the bathroom.
I absolutely agree with that statement. I might have one now, so don't zoom in. But yeah, no, I think it's a positive trait to tell people what you think and what you feel. If you're anything like me, then I just like to know where I'm at in a relationship. Like, where is me and this person at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't plan on changing, telling people what I think and what I see. So I'm going to be kind, you know what I mean? I'm going to be respectful.
Yeah.
I'm going to be gracious, but it ain't changing. 2023, you know what I'm saying? New year, same old me. All right, do you have something yet?
I do.
All right, go.
All right. So I am not going to change the fact that I have my own food preferences. And I don't care that you think
As dumb as they are.
that I should eat yours, because if I eat yours, it's going to be different.
Pause. I'm so sorry. I'm a child. Go ahead. That's not changing in 2023 either. Go ahead.
But my point is I get that my food preferences are just different than yours. Mm-hmm. But please don't make me feel bad that I don't like certain things.
Okay, well, I'll try not to do, because I feel like you're really talking to me. So I'm going to try not to do that in 2023, but I'm still going to clown you if you make dumb decisions.
Whatever.
Here I am giving my thoughts.
You're the one who doesn't like chocolate. So
Okay.
I feel like I will always have the majority of people on my side because you don't like chocolate.
Okay, we're not talking about that right now.
Oh.
We talked about that before. Didn't we talk about that in the previous episode about chocolate? I'm sure we did.
We did.
Okay, so, yeah, question for you. What is one thing, maybe two things, that you are absolutely bringing into the new year with you? I think it's good to talk about all the things we want to change. We got a lot of stuff we want to change and a lot of stuff that we want to do.
Yes.
But yeah, man, like really think, what is one thing you want to bring with you? What is something that was good for you last year that you want to bring into the new year? I just think it's good to think about that.
Well, because I think what it does is it means like, hey, there's something about me that's valuable. And it's valuable enough that I'm going to continue to do this. And I think that it has a positive impact around me, or it just has a positive impact on me if I do it.
That's good.
Here's another thing I just thought of. Like, I'm going to continue to take solo trips in 2023.
Let's do it.
Listen, that is not popular, I don't think, where it's like, no, I'm just going to go by myself for a day or 2 days and stay in a hotel room by myself or go to a different state by myself. I'm going to keep doing it because it makes me happy.
Solo trips all 2023.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Tell them we told you to do it. If they
'Cause
got a
I
problem,
love you. And I love my kids.
if they got a problem, you check into the Loyal Minnesota podcast and you tell them holla at Jay because he doesn't mind speaking his mind. Solo trips all 2023.
And then I get to eat whatever I want without somebody
criticizing you and judging you for it.
Yes.
Yo, so here's the thing though. I do wonder if, just to give y'all a challenge, tell somebody something good that you saw last year that they should absolutely bring into 2023.
That's good.
I know we're doing a lot of engagement on what we want to change and what our goals are for the year, but I think it would be cool to like take some time to tell your family, your friends, your loved ones, your co-workers, yo, you were really great at this last year. Yo, I saw this healthy trait in you last year.
Yeah.
Keep that up. Keep doing that. I don't know. I think it's a good thing to do.
I agree.
All right, moving on. Parenting hacks.
All right.
Here's the parenting hack I have for you in 2023. Stop trying to be a professional parent.
Go ahead and define that for us.
I said it. First, I want to stop with the fact that I said it.
You did.
Stop trying to be a professional parent. If you are a parent, and even if you ain't no parent, one of the temptations that all parents face is to feel like you have to perfectly know what you are doing all the time.
Yes.
And the reason why I use the word professional, because if you're a professional at something, it means that you understand, you know, you can execute it, you've been steeped in it for quite some time, you have the experience, you have the credentials.
Right.
But here's the reality. If you are a parent for the first time, and if you're not a parent and you're becoming a parent one day, you need to hear this too. Don't nobody know what they're doing.
Nobody is ready.
And even the people who do know what they're doing still don't know what they're doing as it relates to your child.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And so, you know, for us, one of the things, even when we give people in our regular life, you know, like advice on parenting and stuff like that, it's never coming from the space of we absolutely know what we're talking about.
Right.
We do know what has worked for us and our children. We do absolutely know that.
Yep.
But our biggest thing is to make sure that you know that, yo, like we're in the thick of this thing with you. We're figuring it out with you. There's so many books that you can pull up, so many podcasts you can listen to, so many videos you can watch on YouTube where they're giving you all of this advice, but people are giving you advice.
Follow these 5 steps and you're going to have a well-behaved child.
But they're giving you advice from the standpoint of, I'm the expert on this thing.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a really unhealthy way to parent your child.
Yeah.
Because if you feel like you have to be a professional, then it comes with a lot of guilt. It comes with a lot of shame. It comes with a lot of anxiety because you have to be the one that gets it right every single time. And I really think time's up for that. You know what I'm saying? Well,
and I think it puts a lot of undue stress on a child who is not cooperating with the way that you're parenting. And so, you know, now they feel like they're a bad child or that they can't get it right because they're not falling in line with how you've been told you should parent.
Yeah. And I just think that, like, there's so much that goes into this conversation. You don't always know what you're talking about. It's like a thing, though. I do think that we as parents, we have to stop positioning ourselves in our kids' lives as if we always know what we're talking about. Yes. Now, when you do know what you're talking about, you know what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you don't, I would dare to say it's actually okay to tell your child that. Like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to lead you. Matter of fact, you might be getting on my nerves, and I don't know what to do with that. You know what I mean?
Well, even to take it a step further, and not only do I not know, is, hey, I did this wrong and I'm sorry. Because when you think that you have it all together, then you're not opening yourself up to actually apologizing in the ways that you've hurt your child, which we've all done.
Yeah. And so, I think making sure that, because I think as parents, you know, you ask your kids to apologize for stuff all the time, especially if they have siblings. Tell your sister you're sorry. You know what I mean? But how often are we modeling for them?
So
hey,
true.
You know what? I messed up on that. I did not get that right. My attitude might have been wrong that day. My temper may have been too fast that day. I may have just been tired that day.
Yeah.
Or even 5 minutes ago. You know, like I shouldn't have done it like that. I shouldn't have said it like that. I think the fruit that will come out of doing that with your child in some senses is probably far greater than anything you ever told them to do.
Yeah.
Coming to your child to say, yo, I'm sorry for doing this thing. I don't know what I'm talking about. My bad. Just, I think could be a cool thing.
Yeah, I think one more thing I will say to that is when you're a professional at something, then you have an answer to what is being brought to you. So if you feel like you have to go into parenting with the answers to all of the questions, what it limits then is actually hearing the other person. And so if I go into this thinking, I don't have it all together, I don't always know, I have room to learn, and my child comes to me and I can actually hear, then it allows me to serve them better than just feeling like I have to have an instant response to something that you say.
And I think, here's the reality. It's going to take humility, though.
Yes.
Like, for you to come to your child who, you know, as parents, you always kind of see your child as your subordinate. For you to come to them and say, yo, my bad.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a level of humility that I think sometimes can just be difficult for us as adults. I really do.
Yeah, and I think truthfully it is kind of going against the grain a little bit. It probably wasn't modeled for us, whether it be our own parents or even other authority figures. I think, you know, it's a new step.
I think what we have seen is taking time to tell our kids we don't know what we're doing, taking time to tell our kids we're sorry, taking the time to involve our kids in how to grow us as parents, because this is a thing too.
That's good.
It has really paid dividends for us. Here's what I mean. We invite our children to tell us where we're not doing a good job, even like before we may even see it. Because I do think that there's two ways in which this can work. I see that I messed up and I come to you and I say, man, I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
Or I don't see it at all and your child has the ability, the freedom to come to you and say, Daddy, you messed up in this way. Daddy, I did not like when you talked to me like that.
Yeah.
Mommy, why did you give me that attitude? Like, what was... Now, I'm just letting y'all know, though.
These are actual real scenarios.
Real literal scenarios. Once you open that door...
Yeah, be prepared.
It ain't shutting again. So, you know, just prepare your heart. Gird your loins. I done said it before. Devil wears Prada. Just prepare your heart and your mind to be able to take in the stuff that your kids are going to have to say to you. But I do promise you, it'll be good for you and it'll be good for them. And I think over the long run, what you'll see is you'll actually have a relationship that goes from child to adult child.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I think that's it right there. I think a lot of times as parents, especially young parents, we get caught up in thinking like, I just have to have this parent-child relationship and perfect this parent-child relationship. And we forget that there's a transition that happens.
Yes.
And so we actually have to be actively intentional for that transition to happen well.
Yeah. Because I think you do want the transition to happen well.
Yes.
So, I mean, unless you just don't want to have to deal with your kids when they're adults and you really don't want to talk to them ever again, then by all means, just don't do anything that we just said.
Listen, but then you might not get grandkids or be, you know.
Well, there's also that.
Want.
So if you want to see your grandkids, have good relationships with your kids. That's the point of what she's saying.
Yes.
All right. That was our parenting hack. We would love to hear your thoughts on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So leave a review. You know what I'm saying? If you're on YouTube, write a comment. We will look at it and we are going to just have dialogue with you and maybe even talk a little bit more about this on the next episode. I want to get into a little bit of a self-awareness check-in.
Yeah.
We are self-awareness people. We always want to kind of be looking at ourselves and saying, what is there to see? This is a thought that I had a couple weeks ago, and you and I haven't talked about this, I don't think, But I just thought it would be a good conversation. So here's the statement that I wrote in my phone. Mm-hmm. Even at your healthiest, there will still be people who cannot withstand the authentic you.
Yes.
Even at your healthiest, there will still be people who cannot withstand the authentic you. When I wrote that statement, what I meant is, and we kind of already talked about this, I have been a person that has ruined a lot of relationships because I'm super duper honest and I bring a lot of energy and I'm a bit aggressive at times in relationships, primarily because I love hard. Like if I love you, I love you. And if I don't, I don't.
Yeah.
But and something that was said to me was like, yo, not every person can absorb all of the energy that you bring into a room or into a situation or into a conversation. But what I've been learning lately is it doesn't actually matter for some people how healthy I become. It doesn't matter how many good communication skills I have. It doesn't matter how much humility I can show. It doesn't matter how well I have changed. For some of them, it just still is too much. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I just wanted to have a conversation about that. And maybe you guys are experiencing that in your lives. If you are, that would be really helpful for me to hear because I like to feel like I'm not by myself. But I also want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think the reality is relationships are two-sided. And so I can be at my healthiest or as close as I can be. Right. And the other person might not be. Especially in an area that I'm pursuing health. And so if I am doing something, even if it's in a healthy way, that is triggering the other person where they have trauma or just maybe a bad relationship, bad experience, whatever, it's not going to go over well. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I did something wrong.
That's good.
It could mean that it's actually pushing something on them that's uncomfortable for them. You know, positively or negatively, or how, like maybe the point of the conflict is to cause the other person to grow. Yeah. And so me being healthy is actually helping that person, but conflict arises in the meantime.
That's good.
Or maybe it just means, hey, I need to take a step back because it doesn't ultimately end up being helpful for either one of us.
Yeah.
So even though I'm healthy in this, it's not helping with this relationship, and now this relationship is going south because of my health.
Yeah.
So part of my health then is I need to take a step back.
Yeah.
But again, that causes more self-awareness because now I actually have to look again at me and say, you know, is this me? Yeah. Is this not me? Yeah. All of the things.
Yeah.
Those are just my
I think it's a really great thing to kind of pause out and say, hey, you getting healthy at something does not necessarily mean somebody else is getting healthy at something else. You know what I mean? And so, like, I've gotten healthier. I am not the healthiest, but I have gotten healthier at when I'm in a conversation with somebody, shutting up and listening, and being able to hear what they have to say before I respond, because I do happen to be a pretty fast processor. And I can kind of, like, ascertain, can I use that word? I can kind of like figure out what the person is going to say before they even finish saying it. So then I already have an answer, because like I know where you're going, but that can like feel rude sometimes to people. You know what I mean? Yo, you're not listening to what I have to say. But I think also on the other end of that, sometimes people aren't good at listening. You know what I mean? So I could have listened to the best of my ability, but then when I begin to speak, I still need the other person on the other end of the conversation to be able to hear.
Right.
And if they are not training themselves to hear, because it was just about kind of getting their point across or whatever, then it really doesn't matter what I bring to the situation.
Right.
Because a conversation in a relationship is two-sided, and both parties kind of contribute to what it becomes. Yeah. I think the most recent example of this is with one of my children, where, you know, I'd been working on, hey, I want to talk like this with this particular like mood and intention better. And in one situation, I had one of our children come and say, I didn't like this, and they were kind of blaming me for their reaction and their whatever their thing was that was in the situation. And in the moment, I was like, do I need to hear this? And is this child right about me? Or is there something else? And I realized, oh no, you are using what I said to you as a weakness for me. as a way for you to kind of get out of your responsibility in this event. And actually, I did handle the situation well.
Yes.
But because I've opened up to you and let you know, hey, I struggle in this area, now you're trying to use that against me, and I can't let you do that.
Yep.
And so I said to the child, I'm so sorry that you feel like that, but I cannot allow you to say that this is what I did when I did not do it.
Right.
And the reason why you're saying this is what I did when I did not do it is because you just don't want to deal with what you did.
Yeah.
And so I think making sure that you assess where the other person is, because here's what I think happens. This is what happens with me.
Yeah.
If I come to the conversation with good intentions and I handle it the best that I possibly can, and I feel like, I didn't pop off and I didn't act crazy, but then the other person still acts crazy, what I end up feeling like is maybe I still didn't do something right.
Right.
But sometimes it ain't me. Okay? That's what I arrived at.
Which is different from the last podcast where sometimes it is you.
Yeah, the last one I said it's you. It's not them.
So I just had another thought too. So you can tell me, because you were the one that originally came up with the statement, and read it to me one more time.
Yeah, so it says, even at your healthiest, there will still be people who cannot withstand the authentic you. So
it makes me ask the question, could that also be applicable to yourself? Sometimes at your healthiest in certain areas, it is not going to be well for you in other areas. So let's take your example of listening. So you've been doing a better job at listening. What that actually causes you to do, though, is hear other people's opinions. And then because now you're hearing more of maybe how you're impacting them or maybe their thoughts, now you go back, at a different time, and you're thinking through the things that people have said, and now you actually have to deal with the things that people have said.
Yeah.
And so I think I say all that to say, I think sometimes when we become healthier, it actually disrupts other areas that look on the surface like they're unhealthy, but it's just more things that we have to deal with. Does that make sense? That was a lot of processing.
I think so. I think it kind of leads me to, I think that, yes, you can be healthy in one area and then not healthy in another one. Because I do think for me, what has happened, and maybe this is where you were getting at, what has happened with me is because I'm actually listening to people now, people's words impact me harder.
Yeah.
And in a greater way.
Yes.
Because I hate this word, but I'm more sensitive to what people have to say about me. You know what I mean?
Ooh, so maybe the thing that you're becoming healthier at isn't necessarily like a underlying thing. It was the guard that I put up.
That's interesting. Yeah, so I'm actually getting healthier at feeling my feelings.
Yeah.
That ain't what we're here to talk about. We will talk about this the next time around. I don't want to talk about my feelings on this here today. Let's end with something that you said, which is old is the new young. You want to go ahead and explain what you mean by that?
All right, so listen. I am getting a little bit closer to 40 these days.
Yes, you are. Very close.
I'm not that close.
Days away.
No. Listen.
It is days away. It may be, about 600 days away, but nevertheless, it's days away.
All right. So when I was younger, 40 was like ancient. Like, I remember being a kid and even probably like high school, and I thought my mom was so old.
I hope your mom's not listening to this. I mean, I guess you kind of said this to her last night.
I did. Like, it just seems so old. Mm-hmm. And now that it's really close, I'm like, it's not that old. And then actually it expands, because now it's like 60 isn't actually that old either.
It's really not.
In my mind, though, like, and I think some of this has to do with like generational changes, like maybe because modern medicine and people are working longer and active longer. Some food has gotten healthier, some food
has not.
Where maybe it just doesn't look the same. But like, I remember like my grandparents, they just seemed like, that they were close. They weren't. And now that I'm getting older, I feel
Sorry,
like...
guys, we're being interrupted by children.
We are. I was trying
Why
not
do
to
y'all
be
not
distracted.
have shoes on?
They're about to get on the trampoline. Am I right?
Is it not muddy out there?
We had to
I'm very confused. Okay, back to the topic at hand. Okay. Sorry, guys. We were interrupted by children because this is our real life. Okay, go ahead back to what you was talking about. You talking about your grandparents.
Yes. So, like, I don't know. My grandparents, they were retired. They weren't working. They kind of like, and of course I'm the grandchild. So I go over there and it's all fun and games but they were tired and all the things.
Yeah.
And now that go ahead, Noah, you can go.
Just go that way. Go ahead. Now that you're what?
Now that I'm looking at it, and that's only 20 some years away, I do feel like, hey, like in my 60s, what do I want to do? I want to be traveling. I want to be hanging out with my grandkids. I want to be possibly even still working.
Yeah. I think for me, I have kind of a little bit of a different perspective on this one in reference to like old is the new young. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I thought this age would feel like. You understand what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I think for me as a child, I think in a lot of senses very much still what I am, just kind of in the moment. So I wasn't necessarily thinking about being older and what that experience would be like. I think for me at the age that I'm at, I'm 35. Which is not old, like it's 35, you know what I mean? But I am looking at my life and I'm saying, yo, in 10 years, so I'll be 45, in 10 years, all of my children, all 4 of them will be adults.
Yeah.
And I don't feel old enough for that even to be happening.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I don't understand how my reality in 10 years will be for I'll actually have adult children.
Yeah.
And so when you say like old is the new young, I'm realizing I'm like old enough for these things to be happening, but I just don't feel it. Like I don't feel like that is my actual reality. You know what I mean? Okay, sorry guys. Once again. Boom, there you have it. But yeah, like I feel like, yo, like maybe old is the new young.
Well,
you know?
and I think part of it, like again, going back to my childhood, like when I was younger, like my parents just seemed so like there was such a significant age gap in my mind, and now my kids are like, can I borrow your clothes? Can we wear your shoes? And I feel like it's just, it looks different, even though in many ways it's the same age difference.
I think what's cool about it is
I'm a cool mom.
Okay. Wow. You're just going to ascribe that title to yourself. Very interesting. I'm pretty sure your children have to tell you that you're a cool mom. I don't think you get to tell yourself. All right.
They have.
So I think what's cool about this is like, it's this idea that time does move fast and yet it moves slow. And so you have time. Yeah. And yet you don't have it. You know what I mean? And we've had our own time with even kind of thinking about and talking about death in the last week for us. But I think that what time shows you is like it doesn't remove all opportunity.
Right.
But you absolutely should use it to the best of your ability because you don't know how much of it you'll have.
Yeah.
And I think for us, we've been talking a lot about where we are at this age and where we want to be, you know, not just in 10 years, but where we want to be in the next year, where we want to be next month, where we want to be at the end of this year.
Right.
And,
but without removing responsibilities for today, because I think sometimes we can get so caught up in what we want to do in the future that all of a sudden it's the future and nothing's accomplished because we weren't focusing on what we can do today.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing. I feel like I don't care how old you are, what age group you're in, what quote unquote generation you are a part of, what opportunities you have and what opportunities you don't have. There's opportunity for you.
Yes.
It may not look like what you want it to look like, but there's opportunity for you. We are excuse me, we are putting our hands into a lot of arenas this year that we don't know like how successful we'll be or not be and all of those things, but there's tons of opportunity out there for you, and don't allow your age to define that for you. Don't let your age tell you what's possible and not possible. There are so many people out here doing so many age-defying things at 50 and 60 and 70 and 80. So I'd say to you, I don't care what age you are, it's not too late to build a company. It's not too late to take the new job. It's not too late to learn a new skill. It's not too late to get a new friend. It's not too late to have a spouse. Just know it's not too late. because old is the new young. What you about to say though?
I was gonna say it's also not too early. So you're not too young to start a company. You're not too young to graduate high school. You're not too young to do any of the things that maybe somebody's telling you you're too young to do.
Yeah, we got to go, guys, because kids is beating up other kids out there, and we got to figure out what's going on. Hey, so this has been the Loyal and Assertive Podcast. We appreciate y'all. We gonna see y'all on that next episode. Please go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. And again, follow us everywhere where podcasts are found. We will see y'all next time.
Bye.
Jay and Megan got that heat.
Welcome back to the Loyal and Assertive. Welcome back to the Loyal and Assertive. Welcome back to the Loyal and Assertive.